Hi, everyone. This is Mohammed Chowdhury, the Scale Up CFO here, and welcome to the first episode of the Real Founder Series. Today, I'm speaking with Abby Muros, someone who's taken her experience in branding, consumer psychology, and tech and turned it into a venture that spans education, creativity, and impact. Abby is the founder of Studentan, the first ethical AI platform which is designed to guide students rather than replace it. As part of the Real Founder Series, we'll be working closely together over the next few weeks to build every core investor document. That's from teaser to pitch deck, business plan, and financials. And this series will document what it really takes to build investor documents, and we'll look behind the scenes. So, Abby, thank you for joining me. Let's start with your story. Please tell me a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Studentan, and a little bit about your DADA agency.
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited for this program as well, but we have talked so much about it. But yeah, a little bit about me. So I'm Abby. I'm from Barcelona originally. I've been living in Geneva since 2009. And as you mentioned, my background is in brand management. I've been in Procter & Gamble mostly. I work for big corporations, IKEA, TNT Logistics, you name it, Thomson Reuters, Procter & Gamble with all the multi-million brands. And now I'm venturing into the amazing landscape of AI. So it's not for the faint-headed, as you can imagine. And Studentan specifically was joining everything I care about with everything that really makes me excited. So it's the amazing spot where you're doing your ikigai and what you really care about and what excites you and what you can do is spot on. So what is Studentan? Studentan, as you mentioned, is an AI platform indeed. It's not rocket science. It's supposed to be the place where children, adolescents, families together with their kids or even educators can go and take advantage of leveraging this amazing technology without compromising on the learning journey or the brain capacities of learners. I can explain that later. I think we will have lots of time to explain what it's exactly about. But in an analogy, I don't think we wouldn't throw our children to the deep side of the pool right away. So we prefer to take them to the shallow and teach them how to swim, get confident, grow skills, and then little by little we go hand by hand, and then they can swim in the deep end. Well, it's the same with new technologies. You have to be the responsible adult and take your children through that process and not throwing them to something that could be a little bit complicated for them and for their development.
So again, I said, well, as we go through this journey, so, we're going to have weekly check-ins. We're going to go through. So, a lot of, I think, the sort of deep ins and outs, I think we will go through. And I think everybody watching this will actually understand a lot more about, what it is you do. But I think, so moving on from that, I'm very curious, and I'm always curious with entrepreneurs. And I said, look, I've been doing this 25 years. I come from an entrepreneurial background. I was 7-8 years old when I was working with my father. And one thing that I'm always curious about, and I ask everybody, and that is two things. Number one is, what made you start this? Where did the idea come from? Were you doing your CrossFit and kind of sit there thinking, oh, that would be great? Were you sitting on your sofa? That's number one. And the second bit is the name. The name I'm always curious about. So the two things really I'm quite curious on.
Okay, one story is going to be way better than the other. I can already disclaim you. So let's start with the most beautiful one. Is why I started. So I started because I'm always curious and I'm always trying to innovate with branding and marketing and with my agency. And then when AI arrived, I don't think anyone can forget that year, right? It was like our life was upside down. Everything was possible. Everything was even more possible than possible as weeks went by, because we were discovering other ways to work, to innovate, etc. And then it hit me. I was really improving my agency. I was improving my services to our customers with AI, but it hit me And I thought about my kids, and I thought about this generation as a mom. So my elder, Alma, she's 13, and my youngest now, she's 10. So they're not all tiny, but they're still kids, they're studying, etc. And I was thinking of how technologies are kind of damaging our span of attention, our brains, even our rapport, or the rapport we're building with learning. Right?
Mhm.
I remember when I was young in Barcelona and I was doing my studies and everything. And I already talked about it to some people, but I was like all week taking notes of all the things I wanted to find out about, like, I don't know, concepts, names, historical figures, whatever I heard. I was like, okay, and I had a notebook, and then I would wait all week for a Saturday to go to the library in Barcelona, walking distance. So walk half an hour, 45 minutes, and get to the library, and then get like 20 different books in order to get one information, right? And I was like, check, check, check. But in that quest in the difficulty, in the management of that project, on building that learning, it was my happiness of learning. And it's something that has gone with me all my life. I am a learner, I am a reader, I am someone who likes to challenge thoughts, that has a little bit of critical thinking, I would like to imagine. And I think I want to preserve that for the new generation. And it's not because I want to be like this spiteful adult that wants them to suffer as well and work to the library. No, I want them to have all the knowledge in the world with AI, but I want them not to lose on the journey and developing their brains. So I think the good compromise was Studentan, where we have this AI that is 24 hours available, that it can reply in any language, that is multi-format, but is never providing the answers. Is guiding you through, is asking you what you don't understand about this. How can I help you? What is the part that you're struggling with? It's like a tutor, right? So, I mean, it's like the perfect compromise. And why I did it, because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I thought it was needed, so I said, okay, I will build it. I didn't think, I was like, I will do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I did it.
So is this your first entrepreneurial venture then? Was this the first time that you came up and said, I'm going to go build it? Or have you set up something before? Have you had experience of being an entrepreneur before?
No, well, I used to work for Procter & Gamble the last 15 years, and from 2018, I had my own agency, the DADA agency, and I used to do like branding services, logos, video explainers, very, very creative things. Then I started to do some social media and everything, and with AI, I started with a service that it was purely AI boost for companies. And as part of the knowledge I got for my customers, I managed to build Studentan myself. And then I fell in love with Studentan, and I say, okay, I'm going to really push Studentan, because I think it's a social impact I never really had in my previous jobs. And I really wanted to. You were talking about legacy. I don't know if it was at the beginning of the video or as part of our conversations at other moments, because we talk a lot. But I don't think of it as legacy, because I'm very humble, I'm shy. I mean, I don't think about legacy, but at the end, I think it is. I think it is a driver, and I think it's there. So why not acknowledging that?
Anything for the betterment, anything that makes things, because obviously AI is such it's unknown at this point in time, So you're talking about Procter & Gamble, and then you kind of went on your own, you kind of now set up. So I'm going to ask you a question. Obviously, I think one of the questions I ask you about challenges, and I think, look, I've been an entrepreneur, and all these white hairs have come from, the challenges and the ups and downs, and, the ups and highs and lows and everything. But before then, because you mentioned Procter & Gamble and what you're doing, if you had the option today, would you go back to that 9-to-5 job, Procter & Gamble, nice big company, nice corporate? Would you go back to that?
That's the worst question ever, because honestly, let me not reply to that. Let me just go like this,
right?
and
okay,
reply something similar. No. But I'm going to reply, but I'm not going to say a yes or a no. I'm going to tell you what was great about that job, and I'm going to tell you what is great about this one. What was great about that job was the stability, the certainty, the sense of protection, right? Because you had HR, you had systems, you had ways to do things. So everybody working there was aligned with the values and principles. It's there's like a social contract when you're there, right? So you know your peers have aligned to the same setting, and this is safe. This is pretty safe. Well, Procter & Gamble was a great employer. I stayed for 15 years.
Wow.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, most of my adult professional life. So honestly, it was very nice. Then what I absolutely love about my life now is everything else. It's everything else, everything I couldn't have. The creativity, the ownership, the unlimited potential, the people I meet, all kind of different people. The variety is very variable as well. You see, because when you have this social contract, everybody's pretty much the same, or everybody is like supposed to say pretty much the same. And then you're out there in the jungle and you just cross people from every kind of backgrounds, and it can be messy too. It can be, sometimes it's not agreeable. Sometimes I wish I would go back to my PNG umbrella or protected.
Just
But
kind of hide it.
yeah,
Do you know that's the thing with entrepreneurism. I think this is where people think it's a journey that's easy. People think, oh, I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. It's the most hardest, because it's that mindset where you're coming from stability and structure to basically unstructured and the unknown, because every day you're creating something new. And that's where it takes a certain mindset to be able to do it. And I think that's the reason why you get a lot of people that are still in 9-to-5 jobs, because they're too scared to venture out. And they've got some great ideas, but they don't want to venture out. So let's talk about the kind of challenges you have faced. So obviously, look, I've been there. Look, I've been doing this for 25 years. As I said, the highs, the lows, the white hairs have come with it. So I'm very curious, and I think everyone watching your journey would be, since setting up your Studentan, what kind of challenges have you faced? And I'm sort of challenges, sort of generic challenges, and also as a woman founder in Europe. What are the kind of challenges that others might not see? Because this is, sort of, as much as sort of the marketing side, creativity kind of maybe get sort of a lot of sort of women in that kind of industry. With this kind of the tech side, it's a sort of male dominated industry. How exactly have you kind of sort of encountered that? Be very curious to sort of understand that side of your journey.
Honestly, since I started, everything has been a challenge. You can have smaller or massive challenges, but everything has been a challenge. Like everything: technical challenge, social challenge, financial challenge, whatever.
Right. I'm going to stop you there, Abby. Right. This is your first lesson, right? There are no challenges, and I asked you that specifically for a reason. There are no challenges. Everything's an opportunity. When you're an entrepreneur.
But you asked me about the challenges. If you had asked me about the opportunities, I would have said everything has been an opportunity.
Everything is opportunities, exactly. It's a double-edged sword. It's
yes,
both of them.
Yes, because it's about the wording, and you're right. If we choose the wording correctly, I can tell you that every challenge I faced, and everything was a challenge, everything, it was an opportunity that has resulted in me understanding that I don't think I have unlimited potential, because I'm not a superhero, but the potential and the limits I thought I had were not there where I thought I would find them. Every time I thought, okay, this I cannot handle, I handled it, I excelled it, I sublimated it, and it was easy. And then it was the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. It's like if it was a video game, it would be like when I thought I would have no more life credits, I was getting bonuses and bonuses and bonuses I didn't know existed. And I'm just going through all the screens of the video game, like looking back, and I'm like, I cannot believe I killed that dragon, I killed that gorilla, I did this, I did that. I cannot even explain you. If I had to tell you, I wouldn't be able. I just know it's been like an average of 12 hours per day, talking to everyone just in case, hundreds and thousands of hours of tutorials online to try to fix things, because I didn't have the money to pay someone. I had to do it myself. and I manage. I just manage.
And that's why, look, that's the reason why I'm fascinated with journey. And I think there was a couple of reasons to this, is that, as you said, everything's opportunity. You've never done it before. You're creating your own roads as you're there. It's like you've been dumped in the deep end. You have to sink or swim. You do one of the two, and you have to swim. And that's the beauty of the entrepreneurism. And one thing it does, and I think this is where, I said, I do a lot in psychology. And I think when we do the courses, you'll see there's a big part of psychology within the courses that I talk about. And it's this thing about your mindset and your brain. You see, your brain is there to protect you. And I think your 9-to-5 job is safe. People think, it's okay. You never have to venture out beyond that. When you come into this, everything seems unknown. And because it seems unknown, you think it's a challenge. But actually, if you look at it, it's not really a challenge. It's just that you've never ventured that far before, that your body doesn't actually know. So when you first look at it, you think it's a challenge. But when you actually do it, you think, well, it wasn't actually so bad. And it's quite an enjoyable sort of journey. So what any specific challenges you've kind of come across, and any specific roadblocks, or is it just been generic ones you've kind of walked your way through?
Honestly, in all honesty, and you can cut on the edit if you need to, but what really hit me, one of the things that hit me, and if there is something that made me like cry out of desperation during the journey, in all honesty, like heart in my hand, is as a woman, the fact that you're building something with your bare hands, that you're working endless hours, that you're handling your kids, that you're doing everything right, and then you go to networking places, or you're pitching to someone, and you're not having the respect you are owed as a woman. And we are 2025, and we have the highest technology, and everybody's talking about ethical AI and biases and blah blah blah. But then in real life, as humans, we're kind of failing. We're kind of failing sometimes, and that felt like desperation. It's like so unfair, so frustrating. I don't know if you can. Maybe you've lived something like that regarding other things of yourself that can be looked as difference, because at the end of the day, being a woman is a difference in tech. Being Spanish is a difference in Switzerland. I have we all have differences that can be highlighted by the people that doesn't want to look for what is similar instead of what is different, right? And then they just put you aside or in a box, and it's like, this is for Swiss people, you're Spanish. This is for man, you're a woman. This is for tall people, you're 160, because I'm tiny too. So whatever, right? And but in my experience as a woman, I the only things that made me cry were that. And then as a result, saying, okay, I'm doing everything I can, I'm doing everything right, I'm being the only one doing this, and I'm not taking seriously, and I need to provide for my kids, right? This is not a game for me. This is not a game. When I'm showing up to these places, when I'm trying to have meetings, it's not a game.
And look, I totally relate, on the sort of, not the being the female part, but the respect part. I can really understand.
Like he's going to do a reveal, like Mohammed is going to do
on
a
camera,
reveal,
live, and the
that's going
series.
viral.
the real founder series reveal. So look, I've been through that. You kind of go through, and when you're there, and you just don't get the respect. I've kind of felt that from being from the ethnic background I'm from. I kind of gone through the same thing. You don't fit here, you don't fit there. But what? One thing I've learned, Abby, and I think this is something where, again, the psychology part comes, is we're all different. And I think what people think is different about us is what makes us unique. And I think that's where when we craft your story, and I think when we go through this, is that uniqueness, that when people think that, oh, that looks awkward, that looks dead, there's the other side to it. And I use this, and my daughter says I'm delusional, right? My daughter says I'm delusional because of the way I look at things. And the way it is here is, think of it this way, right? If you look at a can of juice, right? I'm not going to take a name just in case they think I'm sponsoring a can. So let's say there's a can of a soft drink that you've got in front of you, a bottle of juice.
Okay.
If you look at the bottle of juice front on, you'll see what you see is front on. That's all you see. If you look at it from the side, you'll actually see what's on the side, which is the ingredients. You look at it from the back, there'll be something else in the back. So what happens is that we as human beings only look at this one-dimensional thing, and we only see what we see. And because we only see what we see, we make a judgment on it. When you have the ability to look at things all the way around, you actually realize that things are a lot more to it. And that's where I think when creating these documents are, when we're looking at, your pitch deck, when we're looking at your financial model, we're looking at business plan, you see, that's all theoretical. That all comes theory. But what needs to come out is that personality. And, when you say, oh, this is Spanish and that's for them and that's for you, that is where I would say that is what we need to basically project, because that's uniqueness. That's what and you're the brand.
It's not complicated because this is what I am. So,
exactly. This is who you are. This is your brand. It's your business. It's your DNA in it, and that's what we need to project. So on the sort of funding side, what kind of challenges have you had on sort of funding or investors, or is there any specific challenges there that you've had?
Honestly, I worked in the shadow for about 3 months to build Studentan. Then I built a platform. Then I started to have users. So I was studying a little bit how the users were doing different cases in the platform, etc. So then I worked for 3 months on the brand, on a little bit on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and where else are we? YouTube, etc. So I'm building the brand at the same time as I'm growing the users. So today we have 4,900 and something users.
Wow.
So I needed to understand, because you have to understand, I was working in Procter & Gamble, being a brand girl, having my salary, bim, and then AI arrived. I don't have an IT background. I built Studentan. I needed to make sure it didn't crash. I didn't do anything silly before I monetize, right? So now I have all these people that are using it. I see that I have to do changes in terms of UX. I need to make it even more engaging. I need to get families and educators on board on why it's necessary, how they can use it in triangulation with the kids and adolescents. So I need to build that habit. I need to do a lot of education and stuff. So I'm studying. It's not even been 6 months since I had the idea until now, with the 4,900 something users and being fully functional. And I've been building YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is the biggest following. LinkedIn has grown a little bit, but not too much. I feel like I had to take every LinkedIn person I have following me by the hand, like, come on, follow me. It's so slow. It's so slow. I had no budget, not for building the platform, not for social media, not for promotion, not for getting the users. I built everything with less than $1,000 and me working like crazy.
Wow. So what were you kind of hoping to get out of the Scale Up CFO program that you're on?
I think I'm going to gain, or I'm really looking forward to gain on clarity, knowledge, insights, learnings, actionable learnings. You will force me as well to work in my numbers. This was like the blind spot. Like, I know I have to work on my numbers, but can I just not do it now? Right? It was like, is the part I hate. But as a founder, and that's another learning I'm having now, is you need to know everything. You need to know accounting, you need to know sales, you need to know everything, right? Especially when you have no budget. So I'm hoping to grow, to learn, to self-develop in a way that is going to help my business. And that's for the personal. Yeah, for the personal and strategic level is pretty much the same. Clarity, learnings, insights, and getting to the job when I have to do it, even if I don't want to.
So look, one thing I said, I love your journey so far. I love your story, and one guarantee I can give you here is that we will create exceptional documents that will wow investors. That's one guarantee that I will give. I said I've been doing this for a long, long time. And I think, as I mentioned, this is not just, and I think people think fundraising is you put together a business plan and projections and you go and raise money. There's a lot of stuff selling. There's a lot of selling. So I think that creating the documents is not the difficult part. I think creating documents, you can put in the hours and do it. it's how do you sell yourself to the investor? How do you, it's a sales thing at the end of the day. How do you use your psychology? How do you get in front of them? How do you pitch them? How do you wow them? How do you get them to remember you? And as I said, that's a journey that, I will take you through. And that I said, we're going to create some exceptional documents, and, we'll perfect the pitch. And I think, I said, look, I'm delighted to have you on board, and I'm really looking forward to this journey. And I think we will do our weekly check-ins, but again, I will challenge you along the ways. I will challenge your numbers. We'll go through this, and at the end of the day, we'll hopefully come out with some really nice documents, get you some nice appointments and sort of interviews and sort of spots with some investors, and then we'll take it from there. So look, I am really delighted to have you on, Abby, and I'm really looking forward to this journey. So
cool.
Today's the intro. The hard work is starting. And I look forward to our first check-in and see how you've got on. Again, as I said, really looking forward to it. And thank you so much. And, I said, raw, real, let everyone see what this entrepreneurial journey is like.
Yes, big time. I'm so looking forward. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Will be great. Will be a ride for sure.
Will be. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.